We may have accumulated some dense fascia and it feels sticky. So dense fascia, where it kind of adheres to the muscle that it's layered on top of and throughout, feels sticky and it doesn't glide. When we don't have gliding fascia, we feel achy and we feel stiff. The biggest area of accumulated dense fascia in the body are the lateral hamstrings. So we're going to get to those today. And it's always good to do the opposite side of the body to counter that and clean up the quads a little bit. So it would be a little bit quad, hip flexor, maybe a little bit into the psoas as well. I'm using 2 water devices, things, instead of yoga blocks. So if you have something comparable, feel free to get that. You don't absolutely need that, but it can be helpful for this activation. Let's get started. We're going to come into a position where you have one knee down and one leg up like this. You can grab those sturdy little helpers and bring them to either side of your leg. All right, the work is going to happen first on the fascia in the hamstring in the front leg, the leg that's up, not the one that's down. You can adjust the distance between your foot and your body. As you get into the activation, you might intuitively know that you need to scoot your foot more forward or back. To begin, you're going to start over your front leg. Take a look here to your alignment. I want you to make sure that your knee isn't drifting in or out too much, that the center of the kneecap is close to the alignment between the second and the third toe. So take a look at that, assess that. Press your front foot down into the ground and back. So the direction's very important where you're activating in what direction. That's going to target the area that we are working on. Once you feel that, I want you to imagine you're contracting a little bit more on the outside of your hamstring, so not right directly in the belly. You'll feel that, but a little bit more on the outside of your lateral hamstrings. Take a moment, hold that for 1. Hold it for 2. Once you have it, keep it. And start to pull your hips back towards the back of the mat. And then relax to come forward. Benefits at the very beginning of activation and movement, not how far you go back. Today I'm actually just kind of inching just a few inches back. I'm not going as far as I typically would or can. I'm just starting to inch out this sticky tissue. Imagine that you have the full footprint into the floor, as if you're walking on the beach and you have your footprint trailing behind you. So you have an even footprint, not too much on the pinky or the toes, not too much in the heel. We will get there. We're just doing a couple of them here first. Let's do 2 more like this. You're just inching that tissue. As you shorten the hamstring and contract it, you're tugging at the fascia along for the ride. Okay, now you're gonna lift your toes up. Now your heel is your focus. Squeeze back, hold it, get it where you want it. As you start to pull back, lift your toes up. Micro bend in that knee the entire time. Come forward and activate again. Heel, toes come up, hips pull back. Couple of these. Let's do 3 more here. Let your breath move gently through your body. It's nice to quiet the mind a little bit so your body can really tell you what it needs, where it needs it. 1 more time. All right, we're going to get those lateral hamstrings a little bit more specifically now. Turn your toes out to the side a little bit. As you put pressure on the front foot, I want you to imagine the pinky edge of your foot pressing down and back into the floor a little bit more this time. Every time you make a micro adjustment, it changes where the fascia is being affected in your leg. Hips pull back. My big toe edge actually comes up off the floor a little bit today. Doesn't have to, but today it is. Inch it back. Notice a difference here. You can play with the direction that your hips are going back. Maybe they go to the side a little bit. Good, let's do 2 more here. Diving, thinking about the lateral hamstrings. Good, actually 1 more here. Here we go. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Move slower, mindfully. Keep it, keep it, keep it. Relax. Good. Staying on this side, we're going to move into the quads on the leg that's down here now. To begin this one, we're going to be focusing on the activation of the quads and the hip flexors of the knee that's down. Activation happens, you're still kind of folded forward here. Looks similar to the one before, but we're focusing in a different direction and muscle contraction. Resist the bottom knee down and forward. Squeeze your tush in back. That's super important. That's going to help you get the work right where you need it. When you have that, you're going to slowly bring your hips forward, and then hands to the knees, bring your body up, squeezing that tush the whole time, pressing the knee down and forward. Let's do 3 more. Bring it down, knee resist forward. Once you have it, squeeze that tush. Hips come forward first, body follows through second. That's where you're gonna get a little bit into the hip flexor and psoas as the follow through. On the next 2, you can actually activate your lower belly on the side of the body that the knee is down. Hips come forward first, follow through, up, tighten that tummy, squeeze the glute, tummy, glute. One more time, bring it back a little bit to start. Squeeze the tush, come forward, and hands to the thighs, tummy tight, follow through. All right, let's get off that knee. That was a little bit too difficult on the bottom knee. I should have actually rolled my mat up a little bit on that first one. Give your mat a little roll. Give yourself a little cushion. And we're moving on. So switching so that the other foot is in front, other knee is down. Hamstrings first to begin. Squeeze the whole front foot down and back. Feel that activation in the hamstrings, and then test out those lateral hamstrings. Can you feel them out? You can even touch and squeeze them a little bit more. Make them work more than they need to. Once you have that activation, keep it and pull back. So we're doing, oops, sorry, I had a call coming in on Zoom, I think. That was interesting. And pull back. Here we go, keep going. Noticing the differences here. What's different? What feels different on this side compared to your first side? Squeezing back, pulling back. Here I'm contracting a little bit higher up in my hamstrings, closer to the glutes, or actually in the glutes a little bit more. Notice what it feels like if you contract your glutes a little bit while you do this. Squeeze it back. One more here. Imagine that footprint. Oh, good. Okay, toes are coming up on the next one. Let me move this so you can see here. I'm squeezing, I'm starting forward, squeezing back. And as I pull back, hips are coming back, heels staying down, toes are coming up. Micro bend in the knee always, and then back up. When my toes are coming up, I don't know, do you feel like you want to go back a little bit further than we did with the first part? I do. I'm scooting my foot forward a little bit more. Draw it back. Whew. Good, squeeze. We're clearing out that stickiness that we might have accumulated over the weekend. Extra sugars, lots of heat, maybe not as much water as we should be having. This will help get that fascia gliding. All right, we're moving into the lateral hamstrings a little bit more focused. Hips are squared. Turn your foot out, and now the pinky edge of your foot is going to push down and back a little bit extra into the mat here. Find your squeeze back, hold it, and my whole foot wants to come up on this side. Totally different. All right, let's do a couple here. I'm going to keep my pinky pushed down, partly because it doesn't want to, so I want to try to work that tissue to allow it to. That means I don't go back as far. All these little changes, all these little variations is information for our bodies. Good, squeeze, 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 keep it, keep it, keep it. One more time, here we go. Feel that activation. Oh, good. Okay, we're moving on to quad hip flexor psoas of the knee that's down. I'm gonna angle towards you a little bit more here. All right, square the hips, knees, shoulders. Activation happens with your bottom leg, the foot that's down. You're resisting it forward. Front foot will naturally just kick back, but our focus is here. Starting forward over your front knee, add your activation and hold it. Bottom knee presses forward and into the ground. Squeeze your tush in back, super important. First part of the movement is to move forward a little bit more And then hands to the thighs, belly tightens. Let your body follow through up here. Fold it back down. Bottom knee resist forward. Keep resisting forward. Squeeze that tush. Tighten up into the lower belly on that side. We have 2 more. Whew, you might feel that front hamstring working a little bit since we've paid attention to it. And up. Whoa, one more time. Start down. Pull forward, forward, forward. Your bottom knee's pressing down, glutes tightening. Follow through on the way up. Whew, okay. Stand up for a second. Feel out your legs. Kind of push into the ground, move your hips around, twist them out a little bit. Yeah. Get a feel for that. Maybe slight bend in the knees. Feel your forward fold. Does it feel a little bit freer? Does it feel pretty good there? Hopefully it does. It definitely feels better for me. Thank you so much. So good to see you all. I just love it. Again, I hope you had a great 4th of July. If you have any questions or just want to tell me how that felt for you, please do so. I always love to hear.